All right, so Greg and I have been working on our fascia, our tails. Hey, Greg.
Oh, dude, I was just about to sneeze, dude. You ruined it.
Why don't you hit that nail with your purse, dude?
I don't got a purse. Guns.
How many hits are you going to take to pound a 60 penny?
Listen, there's a knot. See this knot that I went through? I went through this knot. And then I drove that 60 all the way in here.
But Greg, you pre-drilled that. You pre-drilled that. Don't lie to your haters out here.
If anyone can drive this in under 5 hits, I'll give them 20 bucks.
All right, bet. Let's do it. 5 hits, huh, Greg?
Yeah, let's see it.
That was almost 5 hits total on 2 nails, bro. 20 bucks. And now we're gonna square up and try to straighten out this lower garage roof because it's really windy and we don't think we feel comfortable starting on this upper roof. This is pretty small, pretty manageable. I think a good place to start. So I'm gonna quickly check it for square. I doubt it is square. So I did the math on the Pythagorean theorem here. I actually just used my calculator and came up with 41 foot 5 7/8. Actually, it's 42 5 7/8 because Greg is burning a foot. And we are at 42.6. So we need to come this way 1/8 of an inch. This is very important. Take the time to straighten, square, level, plumb, especially. This roof is going to be getting a 5/8 roof sheet. So we're going to be using Weatherlogic roof. Structural 1 sheathing. It's going to be awesome, solid, a great place for our standing seam metal roof, which is why we're using it. Normally we use a exposed fastener metal roof. This is getting standing seam. It doesn't have the necessary shear or I guess structural capabilities that a classic ag panel does. So we need the sheathing. And once we install that, you're not gonna manipulate this roof. It will be locked down exactly how it is. So we're gonna take the time and get it perfect before we start nailing down 5/8 sheathing. So Greg and I checked square on this little roof section here. We've got it square, pretty darn straight. Looks really good. Only thing we've got left to do is straighten out these tails. We're gonna string end to end, and then I'm just gonna take my square, each tail location, which is where the trusses are. This truss right here, I need to bring it that way. So Greg is gonna go ahead and wedge a board on that end, taking the truss and this tail with it. Yeah, right there, buddy. Man, that's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This one is also beautiful. Okay, so I got one more down here we'll have to check. Man, that looks really nice, dude. Yep, let's go ahead and check it for square one last time and she's ready to go. So as long as it's not too breezy, the string line works well. Sometimes we just have to kind of do something else for the day or the time being if it's too windy. Which is why we're not up top on the bigger section. I'd like to tackle the big section first, but we'll take what we can get. It's breezy today. We're definitely able to get this 32-foot string out, no problem. And the wind is I think going in the right direction because it's not doing any in or out blowing on this sucker. So we're gonna check square one last time, check peak square, and then we're good to sheath. We're good to sheet. Yeah, just kind of like slide it my way. Oh yeah, sure, man. Slide it, turn it, twist it, run it, got it. Because we are running on purlins, we are not able to just snap a line and run it 2 foot. Our purlins are such that we end with the proper sheathing spacing up top, and this overhangs. What we will not do is nail off this because the fascia could be imperfect. We'll end up snapping a line between tails, which we know are good, and we'll cut the sheathing, perfect, and then move our fascia to that nice, perfectly straight line. Be good to go. Now I understand that this is probably a little bit unconventional because our purlins are running this way, not like a rafter. That's why our sheathing is running perpendicular to the purlins, and it's just a better way to run it for us. We've got it figured out so that a 4-footer goes here, there. We have one weird cut because of the layout of the purlins. This next sheet right here, these are all 2-foot spacing, except for this one bay right here. And this purlin at the top of this sheet was determined by where the tail ended for our overhang. So wherever that tail ends, that's where that purlin run is, so we can't be exactly 2 foot on center on that sheet. It is what it is. This length of roof just made it weird. What do you got? Okay, we got our nice nail spacing. You know, the thing about Weatherlogic, dude, that I love though, is look how flat it is. Wait till you go down there and look up this roof.
Yeah, it's pretty flat.
It's flat. Hey, did you notice my new hammer, Greg?
No, why don't you tell me about it?
Nah. I like the fact that we started on a nice line over there. We're running perfectly up this wall.
We're ending on a nice line over here.
Yeah, no cuts, nothing. Just like it was supposed to be. You know, I just said that.
You might have spoke too soon.
Yeah, I just said that on our last sheet. Dang, dude.
I mean,
we're just built different, Greg. Every 8 foot is a tail for our fascia, which was strung and straightened before we sheathed. Now we're going to use this track saw to connect the dots between every 8 foot tail, which will give us a laser straight piece of, or a laser straight cut edge on our sheathing, which we can then nail our fascia in perfect plumb with. Are you good over there?
yeah, what? Double check.
That'll work. Pull it out.
Push down.
Okay.
Tight.
Oh, I like it.
Same with this guy over there.
Just making sure. I'd buy it.
You'd buy it. I'd buy it.
All right, here you go, YouTube. Just to kind of give you an idea. It's pretty straight. 1 section out of 4 done on the main roof. And that was actually quite easy, but most of the time was spent setup, prep, kind of getting things figured out. Am I right, Greg? Next time will be easier. Well, that's a pretty good site. We've got some sheathing above our heads. I'm here in the garage, and we've got our first side of roof sheathing done. We wanted to start on the main section of the house, but with the wind today and just the situation, we decided against it, and that is what we will tackle tomorrow. Yeah, we're just gonna kind of move right around the building, getting all the roof sheathing on. I know it's a little bit backwards. A lot of people, you know, they're used to, let's say, a stick frame building where the walls get sheathed, then they put their trusses on, and then they do their roof decking. However, that's not really the case with post frame. We put all of our bracing with those chains on the walls, then we sheathe the roof. That holds the structure in place, and then we do our walls. We straighten them, we get all that good stuff, and that's just how we do it in post frame world. So if you're wondering, why are you guys sheathing the roof before you do the walls, there you go. All right, guys, we just got done getting this section of building all straight, the walls plumb, the peak square to the eave. Greg just hooked up the fall protection rope, and we got everything up here. One thing that we're gonna do a little bit different today is, instead of having the additional air hose up here, getting in our way, having to trip on it, we're gonna tack all these edges in with our 21-degree Hitachi Metabo HPT battery powered, so we don't have to worry about that hose. And then we'll come back through when we're more cognizant, we're more aware of that hose being there, and just nail the entire structure off all at once. It also saves on fuel, less noise in the background. I don't know, we kind of like to do that. Just tack the edges and then come back and finish the field. So when you're ready, go pop up there and
Pop in a perk.
I think the rope is a little bit less taxing, right?
I hope so. We're gonna find out, right?
Yeah, if not, we go get a fall protection, what do we call it? Retractable.
Rail, Kyle.
What? Hey, don't step on that, man.
But like, I got fall protection on, so am I good?
No,
No?
still not. Now, I don't have my fall protection, Greg. I'm gonna stay right above the lift here. So running the first row is always the most cumbersome because there's really nothing to walk on. But the important thing for us is to obviously be safe, get that first row perfectly lined up with our marks that go right on the edge of the truss. And that helps kind of finish the straightening process, because even though we do the best we can with our chains to kind of bring all the ins and outs together so that they're nice and straight, there's always a couple purlins here or there where, you know, wood is not perfect. So there's always just a little bit of a squiggle in a board, and the sheathing helps take that out by pushing and pulling the sheathing back to our line, in essence giving us a nice straight line. And now that we've got that done, it's off to the races. Obviously, it's important with the Weatherlogic. It actually measures in at an 1/8 inch shy of 48 inches. So when you start running your spacing, you still are staying somewhat on track. I'm just curious because I'm a curious guy. See that? We're about a 16th, maybe 3/64 shy of 8 foot, because we've still got a gap on each side in the dimensions. So they make the sheet an 1/8 inch smaller than 48. Something they did not used to do. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's always good to provide feedback. I like the fact that, you know, we work with LP on some of the products so that, you know, when we get to use them, we can give our feedback. And that was one of the things that we said right away, was these sheets are exactly 48 by 96. Great in a sense that they're perfect. However, they need to be smaller, because if we're gapping them, they need to equal 4 foot by 8 foot once you've applied that gap. So good thing LP listened to us, and probably a lot of other people.
Yeah.
Let's not think that it was us. Got to make sure we mark our fascia, so when we come through and track saw this overhang off, we're exactly where we want to be. I remember doing this all by myself back in the day, sheathing roofs.
Back in the day, Kyle. You got me now.
And I don't need to do it myself now.
Yep. Whoa, easy, dude.
I thought you had it. Wait, what about this one? You don't care about my nail?
No, that's your nail. I already done enough for you. Can't do everything.
One of the biggest reasons I love to use Weatherlogic roof on our roofs is specifically when we're doing standing seam. It gives us like the flattest surface possible, which if you have ever installed metal, the flatter the better, because you don't want it to oil can, have waviness to it. Like, you want a super flat surface. Weatherlogic gives us that best chance at that flat surface with the rigidity, the durability, and just the overall like sturdiness of the panel. Anytime you're laying roof sheathing, it's always a long day, especially with two guys. It's just a lot of work, but it's pretty gratifying, man. We got this side of the building, both on the garage and the upper section, done. But the nice thing about Weatherlogic, I've probably said it and I'll say it again, there's your water resistant barrier right there. We tape it off, and that's good. Like, we don't have to worry about it if it gets rained on now, between now and when we put our standing seam metal roof on. So it's a great idea if you can use this. It's not only, I think, better long-term, but as a labor side, like Greg and I can install this, tape it, and we don't have to fight with rolls of felt, the wind coming and blowing them off. Like, that's it. It's done, not going anywhere, and we're good to go. So I urge you, if you're building a house for yourself, for a client, and you can use a system like this, it just is better. And we're going to be using this on the walls too. So now, even though it kind of goes without saying, I think it still comes up very often. Why do we run our sheets up the roof instead of, you know, long ways? It's because our framing is running long ways. So we want to run perpendicular. This is a structural panel. It's got a structural 1 rating. Our purlins run this way, so we go perpendicular with our sheathing. It's a little bit, you know, different than a standard stick frame or 2 foot on center truss, and it works just fine. So even though my goal is to work right above this lift, you know I don't always practice the most perfect of fall protection practices. However, I do always try to think about, okay, what's really my potential accident? And here, I mean, I got all the roof sheathed. If I work above this lift, the worst I do, let's say I trip. This is only a 412 pitch. I'm not gonna probably slide anyway. I'll be able to just stop myself on the actual sheathing. But if I were to fall down and slide down, then I just stop myself on the lift. But I'm going to go ahead and put my fall protection on. I also do have hoses up here because I'm gonna be running the coil nailer so I can shoot off all this sheathing. I only have it nailed around the perimeter, so none of the middles. Then I'm going to run all of the tape. Now when I run the tape, I'll probably just go end to end. Anytime you got hoses and stuff up on the roof, obviously your risk does increase for tripping and stuff like that. So having the fall protection, not a bad idea. It's time to start taping these seams. We're using some Weatherlogic seam and flashing tape. The important thing is that you apply pressure to the tape. In the box of tape, you get these squeegees. And I like the squeegee because it feels like it's very easy, because most people like to run their hand on the tape after they're done, make sure it's good. That doesn't work. You can't use your hand. You can never apply the right amount of pressure, and it's not very even pressure. However, with the squeegee, it feels like you're doing a hand motion, but you can get the pressure that is needed to apply to the tape in order to get good adhesion, which this is supposed to take 24 hours for full adhesion. So just heads up, if you're, I don't even know why you would really need to know that, other than if you put it down and you need to take it off right away, you can do that without damaging it. Put it back, like let's say you don't get a nice straight line and you want to make it look good. If you pull it up, put it back down and squeegee it, you're going to be fine. But after 24 hours, 48 hours, whatever, it's going to be a lot harder to come up, and I wouldn't reuse the piece of tape. Okay, so I'm not gonna bore you guys to death with some taping. It's important to tape the seams, obviously. It's important to apply pressure to the tape so you get good adhesion. And once I'm done with this tape, in theory, this is a fully integrated WRB panel, which means not only is it a structural panel, but also when I tape this, it's air and water resistant, which means it's a great barrier to the elements. This is gonna get a standing seam metal roof, which is why we are sheathing this roof. The walls are getting LP Smart Side engineered wood siding. So it's gonna be a great barrier to the elements until that work is all done. And it's gonna be a nice structural product added to this building, giving it lots of strength.